What's up, oddballs? Welcome back to another episode of the Oddity Shop podcast, the place where we tell you creepy, odd, weird, strange, spooky stories from around the globe. Kara, how the heck are you doing? Oh, sorry, this is your curator, Kara. Oh. I have to use your proper noun. I am the curator, Zach. Okay, now, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Jesus. It's so
no, not Jesus.
Already.
Curator, Zach.
I am doing great.
Wonderful.
We were just talking about mukbangs off air, and that made me not great. But other than that,
I don't understand it. No, I don't want to eat on camera. I don't want to watch anybody else eat on camera.
Quite frankly, I don't even want to go out to eat with people. Do you know what I mean?
No, that doesn't bother me.
It doesn't bother me per se unless I think about it.
Weird. No, it doesn't, I guess when I'm with people, but watching a recording of other people because it's all you can focus on.
Well, that too. And also if you're going, typically I would hope that you're going out to eat with people that you like, so they don't make you feel that way, but still. Fair
enough. Hey, it's been a minute since a fair enough. Okay. What's new with you other than being discussed about mukbangs?
What is new? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like summer's going by fast but slow, but then also I'm like, holy shit, June's almost over, and it's been, where's the summer really been? We've had some hot days, but now it's been raining.
I had that moment yesterday where I realized we're already more than halfway through 2025 and I don't get it.
Yeah, I thought about that the other day and I was like, this happens every year. I think, oh God, how are we going to start the podcast like this? I feel like time is going faster than it ever did. And I've mean that. I don't feel like it's just what people say, it goes by so fast. If you blink, you'll miss it. No, I think our world's fucked up. We know that, but something's not right.
With the timeline?
Yeah.
Okay. I need you and every other listener to put a giant pin in that.
Okay.
Because I have almost an entire episode worth of a response for you on that. I think this is the first time you have guessed my episode on your episode. So nicely done.
That's awesome. Okay, well, what's new with you?
Okay, so speaking of summer, I had honestly the perfect summer day today.
Okay, what'd you do?
I worked my butt off yesterday, and I had a random weekday off today, which I don't usually have.
Nope.
So I got up and I did some chores around the house. Not a whole lot, but just the things I needed to do. And then I was chilling for a little bit. So I decided I was going to take myself out for lunch.
Well, first off, you were blowing me up at 8 a.m., sending me TikTok after TikTok after TikTok. I was trying to get ready
because I didn't have to get out of bed. I could actually go through that.
I forgot you had the day off and I was like, what the hell is Zachary doing?
So, I blew you up with TikToks. I did some chores. I took myself out to lunch to this dive bar I used to always go to, and one of my favorite bartenders of all time had switched from nights to days, so I haven't seen her in forever, and she happened to be working, and it was her birthday.
Oh, that's fun.
I got to hang out with her, and then I went and bought myself a new pipe, and took that to the woods. I went to a little hiking trail, took my hammock, the new pipe, and my Switch, and I played some Stardew Valley, and meditated and stuff, just hanging out in the woods for a few hours.
That's cute.
And then
ice cream.
I came back and I convinced Julia to get ice cream, and I got you a gift along the way.
Oh, wow. I almost got you a gift yesterday.
I want to show you the gift. Don't derail me.
I thought you were going to show me right now.
A little enamel pin that has a UFO beaming up a cup of coffee, and it says, "We need coffee."
Oh my God, that's really cute. It's adorable.
The cutest. And I figured because you and I have not been getting enough sleep on our adventures lately, it was perfect.
That is perfect. Speaking of, I don't remember, shopping and shit. Your favorite store is everything's 50% off, so you might want to go buy shorts and stuff.
Oh, Old Navy?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do that once a week. It's fine.
Well, no, it's a major clearance sale.
Don't tell me that. I was just thinking today, I haven't bought that many new clothes this year, but I basically redid my entire wardrobe last year, so I don't need to.
Okay, whatever. Here's your question.
Perfect. Yeah, we need to get the shop open.
Nature versus nurture.
You've asked me this question before. It's both, baby.
But is it do you really think, but is it both as in it's always both? Or do you think that you just believe in both? This instance could be this and this instance could be that.
Do you want my nerdy answer?
Sure.
Okay, because this is like, I went to school for social psychology.
I know.
Different personality traits are weighted differently on how much they're affected by nature and nurture. So it depends on what we're talking about specifically and the weighting of it and how much your genetics play in and how much the way you were raised plays into it. So I always think, yes, it is 100% both.
Me too. Okay, so I am going to preface this. That's just your question. Goodbye.
Bye.
So this episode is a lot of facts. So I do repeat myself, like repeat the facts in different like categories, I guess you could say, just because it's hard to keep up and I just want everyone to remember.
Brace yourselves. Kara's repeating herself and she never does that. No, I'm kidding.
No, I mean I'm like there might be like full facts that you're like, we already heard that, but it's just because I don't want you guys to get mixed up along the way and I want you to kind of remember everything. And I tried to categorize it to be organized and not, but it's,
I'll let you go.
Okay. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. Today, I bring you the epic and tragic saga of John F. Kennedy.
Oh, yes.
So there's a lot.
Oh my gosh. How have we not done this yet?
It's been on my list, baby. Okay. So more than a president, he was a symbol. But beneath the charm was a web of secrets, sickness, sex, and suspicion. This is the rise and fall of JFK and the curse that may have haunted his bloodline forever.
I have a lifelong obsession with the Kennedys. I am so ready for this. Let's go.
Okay. All right. So we're going to start out with his childhood and some family background.
Okay.
So John Fitzgerald Kennedy was born on May 29th, 1917 in Brookline, Massachusetts, into a family destined for history and haunted by tragedy. His father, Joseph P. Kennedy Sr., was no ordinary patriarch. He was a shrewd and often ruthless businessman who made millions through stock manipulation, real estate deals, and early investments in Hollywood studios. Ambitious to his core, Joe Sr. had one goal, and that was to build a legacy. And he did not care who or what he had to bend to do so.
He was an Irishman who was not going to live in the slums, man. He was ruthless.
In 1938, he was appointed U.S. ambassador to the United Kingdom, becoming the first Irish Catholic to hold this post. But his tenure ended in disgrace. He openly sympathized with Adolf Hitler, opposed American intervention into World War II, and pushed for appeasement. When his views became public, FDR forced him to resign.
Yeah, no shit.
So JFK's mother, Rose Kennedy, was a devout Catholic and a daughter of Boston Mayor John Honey Fitzgerald, which gave the family their first real political image. Rose ran the Kennedy household like a military operation, strict schedules, religious rituals, perfect table manners, image, reputation, and self-control were everything. The Kennedy home was large, loud, and fiercely competitive. I'm sure you can tell.
Irish.
Nine children. Yeah. 9 children, 1 throne. Okay. And their father made it clear success was expected and anything less was weakness. So Jack, as John actually goes by or was called, was physically fragile from the start. So he suffered from...
Can we talk about that for a second? And I won't make it a
I don't
long
understand.
Thing, but I've never understood
don't
the
get
John
it. Just name him Jack.
Nickname.
I don't get it.
It's the same syllables, same amount of letters.
So dumb. Somebody explain it to me if there's an actual reason. Okay, so he suffered from scarlet fever, measles, whooping cough, chronic digestive issues, and a
debilitating.
Thank you. Back condition that would plague him for the rest of his life.
Good Lord.
He spent long periods in bed, reading, studying, and thinking, often while his older siblings thrived. The political torch was originally meant for Joe Jr., so he was the eldest son, tall, athletic, and outspoken, and Joe was just groomed to be president. But in 1944, during a top secret mission in World War II, his plane exploded mid-air, and his body was never recovered. And that single moment shifted the entire Kennedy legacy, and all eyes turned to Jack. The sickly second son would now be forced to carry the weight of his father's ambitions and the dreams of the entire dynasty. Dun, dun, dun.
Which to me was always hilarious that he, and I'm sure he backtracked on it, right? Because they were only care about social issues, but he praised Adolf Hitler, but then his son fought in World War II.
Both of his sons.
Yeah. I mean, like, that doesn't make, I'm sure once he got flack for it, you know.
There's a lot that does not make sense about this family.
Yeah.
All right. So now we kind of move on to his marriage. So in 1953, Jack Kennedy married Jacqueline Bouvet, a sophisticated, well-educated socialite from a wealthy East Coast family. Jackie was 24 years old and Jack was 36.
Mm-hmm.
So not like the worst age gap we've ever talked about, but it's not really great. If you think about, I'm 36 now and a 24-year-old is like a child to me.
They're, yeah, totally different spot in life.
So Jackie, though, she had studied in Paris. She spoke fluent French and had a taste for literature, art, history. She was poised, graceful, and far more reserved than her husband or future husband. But Joe Kennedy Sr. said she was perfect. He just loved her. She was Catholic, elegant, and photogenic, a first lady in the making. From the start, their marriage was as strategic as romantic. JFK's bachelor lifestyle was no secret, and his chronic infidelity would become a defining strain in their relationship. So even before the wedding, Jackie knew that Jack had trouble staying loyal.
Oh, yeah.
But like many women of her era, she accepted it as part of the political bargain. And as First Lady, Jackie redefined the role. She launched a full-scale restoration of the White House, turning it into a showcase of American art and history. She actually got the Mona Lisa like sent over and like displayed in an
one of the few who've gotten the Louvre to give it up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She was the first at that time. Her televised tour in 1962 reached 56 million viewers and earned her an honorary Emmy, the only First Lady ever to receive one.
Which in that time had to be most of the population.
Correct. She became an international fashion icon, admired for her chic style, oversized sunglasses, and breathy elegance. I think this is funny. So in France, President Charles famously said, "I do not know who is president of the United States, but I know who is the First Lady."
Mm-hmm.
So cute. But behind the glamour, their marriage was often cold and distant. JFK's affairs, sometimes multiple at once, were an open secret among the White House staff and Washington insiders. And she just endured them in silence, often retreating to private quarters. They actually slept in separate bedrooms for much of their marriage. And she traveled without him a lot, vacationing with their children, visiting her family in Europe. So she remained devoted in preserving the image, like, of the legacy of the presidency, but they really didn't have...
Yeah, it was all image.
Yeah. They had 4 children. Arabella, who was stillborn in 1956. Caroline, born in 1957. John F. Kennedy Jr. was born in 1960, who later became America's Prince. And Patrick, who died 2 days after his premature birth in 1963. So they had 2 kids that survived.
Right.
Okay, so now this kind of brings us into his political career. So in 1943, during World War II, Kennedy commanded a patrol torpedo boat, the PT-109, in Solomon Islands. One night, a Japanese destroyer silenced his boat sliced his boat into 2, killing. It was
probably pretty quiet after that.
It was killing 2 crew members. It was silent. So with his back already damaged from all his previous injuries, JFK swam miles through the Pacific, dragging a badly injured crewmate by his life jacket strapped clenched in his teeth. And then he led the surviving crew to a remote island, signaling for help by carving a rescue message into a coconut shell. And actually, that coconut is now in the Oval Office, and it earned him a Navy, a Marine Corps medal, and a Purple Heart.
Good for him.
I know. So more importantly...
I mean, as you should. He well deserved. I wasn't meaning that sarcastically.
No, for sure. So more importantly, it built the foundation for his political image: young, brave, and selfless.
Yes.
And this kind of was the start of the JFK legend. So after the war, with the backing of his father's wealth and political connections, He ran for Congress in 1946. He won easily, helped by Joe Sr.'s control of Boston's Irish Catholic voting blog and a savvy PR campaign. By 1952, he moved to the U.S. Senate, defeating Henry, I think, is it Cabot Lodge Jr.? I don't know. A prominent Republican. His campaign leaned heavily on television, newspaper ads, and the Kennedy charisma. Tools that would define his future.
Very similar to how Obama won. He was one of the first ones who kind of used like the social media aspect of.
Oh yeah, I guess you could say that.
Social media for the day.
Yeah. In 1960, after bravely surviving the Democratic primary season, Kennedy clinched the nomination, beating out more seasoned names like Lyndon B. Johnson. So he'd just be killing it. Many thought he was too young, too Catholic, and too inexperienced, but what he lacked in inexperience, he made up for in image control, stage presence, and connections. The general election against Richard Nixon was one of the closest in U.S. history, and that was the turning point, the first ever televised presidential debate. So Nixon appeared pale, sweaty, and uncomfortable, recovering from illness, and he refused putting on any makeup. But Kennedy was tan and confident, looked directly into the camera. So viewers saw a leader, and it was the birth of the modern political image.
I feel like Nixon always looked a little bit like that, though.
Yeah. JFK won the presidency by just 0.1% of the popular vote. Anyway, so at age 43, he became the youngest elected president in the U.S. history and the first Catholic to hold the office. He branded his administration for the new frontier, a bold, idealistic, why did I say it like that? Era meant to inspire change. Just kind of making, like, to your point of Obama, it's wild because he actually, they said that he probably would not have won had it not been televised, because radio listeners thought that they both were very like even keeled and were doing a great job because they couldn't physically see how distressed and panicked Nixon was. So it was really that televised part of the voters that watched it that were like, holy shit.
It's the charisma that shows through.
It is. Yeah. So that was a really good point. So his inspired change pushed for civil rights through cautiously at first. Promoted space exploration, famously declaring that America would send a man to the moon. He increased Cold War military aid and intelligence operations to contain communism. But his presidency wasn't anything but smooth. So in 1961...
You don't say.
There was the Bay of Pigs invasion. So CIA-backed mission to overthrow Castro in Cuba, and it failed. He took the blame publicly, but privately he blamed the CIA. In 1962, the world teetered on the brink of nuclear war during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Soviet missiles were discovered in Cuba, just 90 miles off the Florida coast. So for 13 tense days, JFK negotiated with Nikita Khrushchev behind closed doors, and the world just watched in terror. In the end, he avoided war, trading a secret promise to remove U.S. missiles from Turkey in exchange for Soviet withdrawal of Cuba. So we didn't know that, but, you know.
I don't care what I don't know if it means no nukes, okay?
So he was praised as a cool-headed leader, but not everybody was impressed. So the military and intelligence community saw him as too soft, and some believed he was naive, others a liability. He also began escalating U.S. involvement in Vietnam, sending thousands of advisors and greenlighting CIA missions. Though he expressed doubt previously, he never stopped the buildup. So JFK's presidency was not long, but it was packed with crisis, charm, and contradiction. He inspired millions, and he terrified the establishment. Okay, so that's just a little blimp on that. And now we're going to move into his health issues.
Okay.
So JFK's health issues were not just inconvenient. They were debilitating and potentially deadly. So in the late 1940s, he was diagnosed with Addison's disease, a rare and life-threatening adrenal disorder. His body could no longer produce cortisol. The hormone needed to handle stress, inflammation, or even regulate blood pressure. So without daily steroid treatments, he could have died for something as simple as a cold or physical exertion. But Addison's wasn't his only issue. I know we already listed some of his other sicknesses as childhood, but he suffered from degenerative spinal disease, the result of a football injury, wartime trauma, and then a botched surgery for fixing it in 1954, and it actually nearly killed him.
Damn.
Yep, from post-operative infection. So to even stand or walk, he had to wear a rigid back brace.
There's just not enough Advil in the world.
Well, he also battled chronic colitis, gastric ulcers, osteoporosis, and urinary, why do I keep getting an accent? Urinary tract infections, some of which, according to like later reports, said that they were mostly from his sexually transmitted diseases that he collected.
That would make sense.
He frequently ran fevers, vomited, or he was too weak to attend events. But none of this was seen by the public or any cameras.
Image. It's the Kennedy image.
To survive and to function as president, JFK took not Advil. He took a complex daily cocktail of medications, steroids for his Addisons, barbiturates and tranquilizers for anxiety and sleep, codeine and Demerol for pain.
There we go.
Amphetamines and methamphetamines for energy and alertness, testosterone, procaine, and animal hormone extracts.
I feel like these all just cancel each other out.
To combat fatigue and enhance libido. And at the center of his pharmaceutical crisis was Dr. Max Jacobson, which I feel like we could do an episode on him, the controversial New York physician nicknamed Dr. Feelgood. And his so-called vitamin shots were basically a blend of everything I kind of said. So methamphetamines, steroids, painkillers, animal gland extracts. And he injected JFK regularly, including before key conferences with Khrushchev, even during foreign travel. And then some historians actually believe, which it's not, I don't even know why you wouldn't believe this, that he may have actually made major Cold War decisions while either high on meth or crashing down from it.
I mean, listen, if I'm going to be negotiating the fate of the world and nuclear bombs, I probably would like a little meth too. Hey, Kara, have you ever wanted to take your spiritual practice to the next level?
Oh, absolutely. And if you're looking for something that feels truly magical and not mass-produced, you have to check out My Mystical Forest.
My Mystical Forest is like stepping into your own enchanted sanctuary. They offer handmade spiritual tools crafted with care, intention, and so much heart.
We're talking tarot card holders that make your readings feel elevated, pendulum boards that bring clarity, and spirit boards to deepen your connection.
And don't forget the incense burners to set the perfect vibe, plus crystal trays to arrange and organize all your favorite stones. Everything is a labor of love made from hand-selected hardwoods.
Whether you're a seasoned spiritual practitioner or just starting your journey, My Mystical Forest has the tools to empower and inspire.
Unlock the magic for yourself and seek harmony. Visit mymysticalforest.etsy.com. That's M-I Mystical Forest, and find the heirloom quality pieces that speak to your soul.
Also, for our little oddballs, for a limited time, enter code ODDBALL at checkout to receive 10% off plus a free pendulum, or simply use the link down in the show notes.
Goodbye.
Apparently, this concoction was so strong it could literally kill a horse. And at some points, he was taking more than one of those shots a day.
Good Lord.
So White House physicians, White House physicians and Secret Service agents like raised alarm at Dr. Feelgood and all the fucking shit he was popping. They warned that Dr. Feelgood's concoctions were dangerous, addictive, and unpredictable. And then one of like his regular doctors claimed JFK was wired like a spider on speed before public appearances. I don't even know what the fuck that means, but it ain't good.
No.
And yet, after all that, JFK refused to stop. And Dr. Feelgood remained Kennedy's in his inner circle until the day of his assassination. Why? Because like you said, the lie was bigger than the risk. The public needed to believe that he was strong, youthful, and timeless. Yeah, so on camera, he looked tanned, confident, but in reality, he was holding on to a presidency by a thread stitched together with drugs, denial. And it wasn't obviously until decades after his death that declassification of private medical files and the truth came out. So the image worked.
At least for a while.
Yeah. So now we can move on to his affairs and some scandals. Because he is jam-packed.
For a short life, man, he did it all.
All right. So behind the polished presidential seat and perfect photo ops, JFK lived a double life, one as commander-in-chief and the other as America's most powerful womanizer. Cue Britney Spears. After...
That's going to be so stuck in my head now. I honestly started with Lucky stuck in my head today.
Oh, that's a good one.
I saw a guy doing like a John Mayer-esque cover of it at a Raising Cane's, and it was the best thing ever. I had already sent you so many TikToks. I couldn't send you that one, but...
His affairs weren't just frequent. They were prolific, reckless, and often dangerous. So I'll go through a few of them for you. So... Ellen Romtesch, she was the alleged East German spy. A stunning European socialite who frequented elite Washington parties. She was a high-level actress. What the fuck? Jesus Christ. She had high-level access.
Same thing, pretty much.
And lots of secrets. Jesus. Oh, I guess she kind of was an actress.
I guess, yeah, they all were.
Okay, so rumors swirled that she had been a communist plant, possibly linked to East German intelligence. Her relationship with JFK confirmed by FBI files and set off alarms at the height of the Cold War. The response? She was quietly deported and the press was discouraged from reporting the story. The FBI closed the case and buried the details. Mimi Alford, the intern. So Mimi was just 19 years old, a college sophomore starting her White House internship when JFK seduced her in Jackie's bedroom.
Perfect.
Yeah. In her memoir, Once Upon a Secret, she described being treated like a sexual servant. She said JFK pressured her into performing oral sex on one of his aides while he watched. She traveled with him, stayed overnight at the White House, and was silenced by the combination of charm and intimidation. At no point was she ever protected, only used and then erased. At one point, she basically said that at the start of it, like, she didn't feel like she was taken advantage of.
Yeah, that's called grooming.
Exactly, because he didn't really pressure her. It was just kind of like, she kept getting invited to the pool, which is weird. Like, why would the intern be invited to the pool? And then he decided to take her like of a tour. Oh, do you want a private tour of the White House? And that's when he like kind of like seduced her in the bedroom. But she's like, was kind of like not okay with it. I'm not explaining this exactly, but yeah, like also he's the fucking president, so you're not going to say no.
It's like authoritarian bias, you know, or bias.
Awful. It's awful. She was 19. Bias. Oh my God, disgusting. Judith Campbell Exner, the mob mistress. So Judith wasn't just JFK's mistress. She was also the girlfriend of mob. Man, my brain is gone today.
You got this.
Okay, so she was also the girlfriend of not mom boss. Why do I keep saying that?
You're girl bossing today.
Mob boss Sam Giancana, head of the Chicago outfit. FBI files and her later interviews claim she delivered handwritten messages between the president and the mafia, effectively acting as a liaison between the White House and organized crime. Her affair with JFK overlapped with Robert F. Kennedy's Justice Department prosecuting the mafia. So the contradiction was Kennedy tried to destroy the mob while the other Kennedy was sleeping with the messenger.
What could possibly go wrong?
Oh, God. So JFK's affairs were not isolated incidences. They were a routine part of his presidency. The Secret Service routinely ushered women into the White House through side entrances, underground tunnels, and pre-cleared hotel rooms. agents were expected to look the other way, and they often did, even when the risk was very obvious. And according to insider reports, some affairs referred to some, what the fuck is going on with my brain? According to insider reports, some staffers referred to the White House as a bordello. And obviously, these weren't just scandals, they were breaches of national security. So a single photograph, a wiretap, or a manipulated mistress could have compromised this presidency.
At least hook up with them offsite.
He did it everywhere.
Oh, well, all offsite.
He just carried on. Right. Convinced his charm, his brother in power would just protect him. So there weren't just cover-ups with just him. So these are
convince his brother his charm would help him?
No, his charm and his brother would help him.
Oh, okay. I thought you said it backwards. I thought you said convince his charm, his brother.
I don't know what my brain is doing tonight, so I very well...
It's all good.
So some other cover-ups the Kennedys didn't want you to know. So in 1960, there was election fraud allegations. Y'all just have to deal with me. I'm so sorry. So JFK's narrow victory over Richard Nixon in the 1960 election was clouded by accusations of voter fraud. So in Illinois, particularly in Chicago, mob-controlled union bosses and ward leaders were rumored to have stuffed ballot boxes to deliver voters for Kennedy. And in Texas, Lyndon B. Johnson allegedly used his political machine to manipulate rural county results in JFK's favor. The mafia's involvement remains kind of be a hot topic in that as well. And Nixon allegedly knew about all of this, but chose to not challenge the results just to protect the stability of the country.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on the brink of nuclear war, I feel like there's some things you just ignore for the time being.
Yeah. So we kind of already talked about it, but Joe Kennedy Sr.'s shady dealings. So the Kennedy patriarch built the family fortune through bootlegging during Prohibition, alleged but not proven, insider trading before the SEC existed, questionable dealings with Hollywood studios and Nazi sympathizing companies in the 1930s. And then as U.S. ambassador to the UK, Joe Sr. appraised appeasement, blamed Jews for the Europe's problems, and said democracy is finished in England. Obviously, JFK's health problems with his Addison's disease, the spinal shit, all his STDs and chronic pain were completely hidden through falsified medical records, friendly doctors who would just lie to the press, denial of obvious symptoms, even when he would collapse at rallies or used a back brace under his suits.
How did he hide the collapsing? That's impressive.
They just made shit up. They literally just fucking made shit up. They also issued deliberate misinformation to maintain the image of youth and vigor. So they just made everything up. It was crazy. With all the multiple women that he had affairs with, they basically were either paid off, threatened by Bobby Kennedy, deported. They deported Ellen.
Wild.
Or mysteriously disappeared from the public eye. So the Secret Service and the FBI helped cover all of these affairs up. So they would smuggle the women through the back doors, like I said, destroyed all the visitor logs. They would intimidate the press. And one young woman, Mary Meyer, was actually reportedly really close to JFK and dabbled in psychedelics with him. And she was actually murdered in 1964 under suspicious circumstances, and her diary vanished.
Yeah, that one's always stuck out to me as being just absolutely not right.
No, it's not right. So Rosemary Kennedy tragedy. So basically JFK's sister Rosemary was born with cognitive challenges. And basically what that means is that as she grew up, she just became really rebellious, and she just did not really want to abide by the Kennedy structure, I guess you could say. So Joe Sr. had her lobotomized. And not informing any of the family. He literally took her and did not tell her mother, did not tell anybody. And the operation failed catastrophically. Jesus Christ, there's too many words.
Did you have a lobotomy?
Yeah, I almost wore my lobotomy t-shirt. So she was actually left permanently disabled, unable to speak or care for herself. And the Kennedys hid her existence for decades, basically claiming that she was a nun or that she lived abroad. She was basically just erased from the public eye.
It's just absolute insanity.
Yeah.
I think you said best at the beginning, ruthless.
So they were basically able to do this all, though, because there is no social media. They had a tight control over their image. So they had very strategic friendships, like with journalists, exclusive access to deals, like with Life magazine profiles and things like that. Blacklisting or punishing reporters who asked too many questions. And actually, like in this era, it was really taboo for even any sort of publication to even report negatively on any sort of like president or any sort of politician, really.
It was a different level of respect then, I think.
Yeah, you just didn't do it. So even if they thought you were going to do it, they'd probably threaten you, but you just wouldn't report any of this stuff. Even after JFK's assassination, Jackie crafted the Camelot narrative, feeding Life magazine the idea of a fairy tale presidency. And it worked. The press ran with it, and it basically helped pave the myth over the man. Like, he was just great.
The whole family Camelot thing and obsession is so bizarre.
That came from Jackie's quote. She quoted the book, or she quoted, but it's like, shut the fuck up. He was dead already. Like, you can't, whatever.
Yeah.
So obviously his presidency was laced with secret operations. So plans to assassinate Fidel Castro included poisoned cigars and exploding seashells were some of the...
Wasn't there something with like infecting the pigs at one point too?
Oh yeah, there was something. There's so much.
So many things. Also, not before he ordered a shit ton of cigars.
Yeah. So CIA in countries like Vietnam, Congo, and the Dominican Republic, secret backdoor diplomacy. Jesus fucking Christ, Carrie. I just called myself Carrie. Dude, I'm telling you, my brain is not right today.
It's okay. We'll get you to bed after this.
Holy shit.
Get it out, Carrie.
Some believe that JFK grew disillusioned with the dark state activity and planned to dismantle parts of the CIA, which is possibly why he was eliminated. So over 3,000 classified documents related to JFK's assassination are still redacted and sealed. Presidents Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden have all denied or limited full release, citing national security. Like, what is left in those files? Is it eyewitness statements, CIA operation, mob links, something darker? I don't know. But basically, the downfall of his presidency was, for all his charisma and idealism, JFK's presidency was one of the high-stake gambles, bruised egos, and gathering enemies. Behind the myth of Camelot, Jack Kennedy was making powerful people angry, and in Washington, that's never without consequence.
No. Really
quickly, let's just go through everything that just brought this mother effer down. So the Bay of Pigs, which that was JFK greenlit the CSA-led operation to invade Cuba.
CIA.
Thank you. The plan, Cuban exiles would land on a remote beach, rally anti-Castro forces, and spark a revelation. Instead, they were slaughtered.
Revolution.
What did I say?
Revelation.
Jesus Christ. I don't know what's wrong with my brain today.
It's okay. I'll keep helping.
So the Bay of Pigs invasion was a complete disaster. The CIA, I had to think, did I say that right?
That time you did.
Had underestimated Castro's strength and overestimated Cuba's support, and basically assumed that JFK would provide U.S. air support, which he withheld. And so 1,200 exiles were captured, and the world watched America flounder.
Yeah, not a good look.
Nope. He did take public responsibility, like I kind of said before, but he was furious behind closed doors. He believed that the CIA had set him up to fail. And then he, quote, said, "I want to splinter the CIA into 1,000 pieces and scatter it into the winds." And that quote haunted him and fueled later conspiracies of the theories of the CIA. The Cuban Missile Crisis. So basically, spy planes discovered Soviet nuclear missiles in Cuba. So JFK's military advisors pushed hard for airstrikes. and a fuel invasion, but he chose diplomacy instead and risky, slow, and controversial move, which that's basically where he had negotiated privately, which was highly not advised, but he did it anyway.
And on meth.
But he was seen as cool under pressure. But behind the scenes, many in the Pentagon and CIA saw his weaknesses, and basically they believed that he caved under communists.
You can probably hide it from the American public, but it's a lot harder to hide it from other officials.
So civil rights, he spoke about justice, but it was very slow to be acted on. So he feared the alienating Southern Democrats whose votes he depended on. So for most of his presidency, he avoided strong action, refusing to fully support freedom riders and to protect Black students integrating schools. In 1963, after violent images of Birmingham and the assassination of activist, I think is it Medgar Evers, he finally gave national address in support of the civil rights, but it was just way too late. Right. It couldn't be proposed for legislation because he's dumb. He's just a dumb. Vietnam, he kind of fucked that shit up too.
Nam was just a nightmare in general.
He, by the end of his presidency, over 16,000 U.S. military personnel were stationed in Vietnam. So he basically had enemies absolutely everywhere. So he had them in Washington, CIA, the FBI, the Pentagon, everywhere. The mafia.
It literally could be anybody.
His vice president, he just really just fucked everything up. So he has so many enemies and so many just stupid ass shit that we could literally be here for hours talking about that. So on November 22nd, 1963, JFK was shot in Dallas.
Shout out to my dad's birthday.
Ooh. So Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested hours later, but he never stood trial because he was shot by Jack Ruby 2 days later on live television. On
live TV. What a nightmare.
I know. So JFK was pronounced dead. And, we all know Jackie refused to take off that blood-soaked dress for hours. There's pictures of it. The image of his son, saluting the coffin became really iconic. But the Warren Commission concluded Oswald acted alone, but most Americans have never really believed that.
No.
But his assassination transformed into a martyr, freezing his legacy in myth and memory. But there are a lot of conspiracies around that, so we're going to touch base on them.
No shit.
So when the gunshots rang out in the plaza on November 22nd, 1963, they didn't just end a presidency. They ignited one of the most enduring and elaborate conspiracy industries in the United States history.
I mean, I feel like if you type conspiracy into Google, Kennedy is the first suggested.
So who killed JFK? So the main theories are the official story. So the Warren Commission, formed by President Lyndon B. Johnson, concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, firing 3 shots from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. No conspiracy, no backup shooters, no inside jobs. Just few believe that. After a Gallup poll shows over 60% of Americans believe there was more to the story.
Fun fact, I got to stand in that window. We did a family vacation to Texas, went to the plaza, and a tour of the book depository.
Oh, wow. So basically, people don't believe this because there's because the evidence or lack thereof leaves so many questions.
Both the evidence and lack of. There's so many weird things.
The breakdown is kind of, number one, the CIA. So after the Bay of Pigs fiasco and JFK being furious about the CIA, he fired Director Alan Dulles and threatened to dismantle the agency. So obviously, we already read that wonderful quote. So Dulles, the man that JFK removed, was later appointed to the Warren Commission, overseeing the investigation into JFK's death.
Oh, interesting.
And many theorists, believe that the CIA had both motive and means, control over covert operations, access to Oswald's records, and a long list of enemies in Cuba, Vietnam, and beyond. The mafia. So We already kind of talked about mob boss Sam and others that were rumored to help JFK secure key votes in Illinois and West Virginia. But after the election, Bobby Kennedy, as Attorney General, launched an aggressive crackdown on organized crime. So the betrayal enraged mob leaders who had risked exposure to back Kennedy. And Judith Exner, JFK's mistress and Sam's lover, allegedly passed all those messages to the men back and forth. So some theorists suggest that the mob helped plan the hit, or they just kind of looked the other way. The military. So JFK had grown skeptical of Cold War escalation. He signed, oh my God, I'm like dying. My brain is so stupid.
You've gotten better as you went.
Okay. So he had signed and was planning to withdraw 1,000 troops from Vietnam and expressed intentions to end the war entirely after re-election. He also worked to cool tensions with the Soviet Union, signing the nuclear test ban treaty, and opening secret back channels with Khrushchev. So this made him an obstacle to military Carrie, get it together.
Come on, Carrie.
This made him an obstacle to military expansion.
I'm gonna start calling you Carrie every time you start stumbling on your words. I'm sorry.
I don't like that name, so it will make me mad, and I probably will stop stumbling.
There we go.
So basically, was he a peace-seeking president or just a threat to the war economy? I don't know. So maybe they killed him off. Lyndon B. Johnson. So those theories also swirled around that LBJ had killed him. So he was vice president. Johnson was a powerful, ruthless politician and deep ties to Texas oil, defense contractors, and corrupt regional figures. So some claim that LBJ resented being sidelined and feared he would be dropped from the 1964 ticket. So according to JFK's aide, Kenny O'Donnell, LBJ was the one who insisted JFK travel to Dallas, a city known for its political hostility and violent climate. So was that just ambition to get him there or just a coincidence? Then there's the UFOs.
I mean, this man literally he's pissed off everybody on this planet at some point. So why not the aliens?
Well, it's not really the aliens, but they didn't really do it, but it's UFO disclosure. So one of the strangest ones is, but I don't think it's that strange, but people think it's strange. Just days before his assassination, JFK reportedly sent a memo to the CIA requesting access to all UFO intelligence files and to share that information with the Soviets as a transparency gesture.
Why do all presidents always talk about disclosure and then none of them ever do it? What do they find out that makes them retract it?
So the memo, sometimes called the Byrne Memo, has fueled theories that JFK was on the verge of disclosing secrets that powerful interests didn't want revealed, which some people think this could really be a stretch, but I don't know. I don't think it's that far of a stretch because so much weird shit happens, like you just said, when people open up UFO files.
Yeah, it gets real bizarre real quick.
So then there's the grassy knoll and eyewitness chaos. So multiple witnesses reported hearing shots from the grassy knoll, not just the book depository. Acoustic analysts suggest more than 3 shots were possibly fired in quick succession from different directions. And some witnesses were never called by the Warren Commission, and others died under strange circumstances. So was there a second shooter?
Or they just weren't found, right? Like
it's just
you might
bizarre.
get into it, but the babushka lady who was filming it, but nobody knows what happened to her film.
I can't even get into everything. This episode is already so long. There's so much with this family and him, but
none of it makes any fucking sense.
So then just like even further conspiracies around the family is that RFK was silenced. So 5 years after his brother's death, Robert F. Kennedy was assassinated in Los Angeles during his presidential campaign. The official story, a lone gunman shot him in the kitchen pantry, but forensics experts and witnesses questioned the trajectory of the bullets. And the shooter himself later claimed that he had no memory of the event. And some suggest that there's a second gunman involved, or I don't fucking, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, RFK's is just as confusing.
It's just, you just can't, It's just wild. So JFK Jr., the prince who never became king. So John F. Kennedy Jr. was charismatic, intelligent, and widely admired. The media dubbed him America's Prince. But in 1999, his small plane crashed off the coast of Martha's Vineyard. And the official cause was pilot error. But conditions were clear. He was experienced, and the timing was suspicious because he was rumored to be preparing a Senate run, possibly against Hillary Clinton. And some believe his death wasn't an accident, but a primitive strike to protect the entrenched political interest. Then we move to Ted Kennedy. So in 1969, Senator Ted Kennedy drove off a bridge, killing campaign aide Mary Jo, I think it's Kopechne. That's probably wrong, but he didn't report the accident until the next morning. And then the scandal destroyed his presidential chances. Yeah. And some theorists suggest that that wasn't an accident, that it was a setup to take out the last viable Kennedy.
Pretty much.
So, some believe the Kennedys challenged the CIA, threatened the military industry, alienated organized crime, toyed with UFO disclosure. And they just knew too fucking much. They were too dangerous, too unpredictable.
To keep that kind of image, you have to make promises you can't keep. You have to make fake friendships that you're going to piss off along the way. And when you do that so many times, you build a lot of enemies. It's wild.
Well, yeah. So it's like, I don't know. It's like, are they cursed by fate, legacy? I don't know. So they were in a world of secrets, power, dark things in the shadows.
Somebody, and I think the father, honestly, made a deal with the devil because they started with such lowly means. I mean, it was like a liquor store, right? That
I don't fucking know.
Drove them into, like, they started profiting off that when they should have been a poor family based on Irish Catholic in the time and place they were.
So if you would just shut up. Many believe that the family was cursed due to the patriarch Joseph Kennedy's alleged dealings with organized crime and moral compromises. Not necessarily the devil, but even Rosemary Kennedy's lobotomy has been interpreted as part of a darker family effort to control image and scandal. Mm-hmm. And then obviously to this day, documents surrounding the assassination remain classified. There's just so much, which brings us to the Kennedy curse. Coincidence or curse? Let's go. All right. So the Kennedy family has been followed by an extraordinary string of tragedies, scandals, and untimely deaths. To some of these people, or to some people, it's just misfortunes, but I believe that it is something deeper and darker. So Joseph P. Kennedy was the older brother, like we said. He was the golden boy of the Kennedy clan. He was groomed from childhood to become the first president, but he volunteered in that top secret mission during World War II. His plane, loaded with explosive, detonated mid-air over the English Channel before he could parachute out, and his death was devastated by the entire family. And it kind of shifted the whole trajectory of the Kennedys.
Yeah, well, had to go back to the plans real quick.
So, Kathleen Kick Kennedy, she was considered the free spirit. She was JFK's vivacious younger sister. She defined her strict Catholic upbringing by marrying Bill Cavendish, heir to the Duke of Devonshire. Billy was killed in World War II. 4 years later, Kick died in a plane crash in France at just 28 years old on her way to vacation with a new love of hers that the family disapproved of. And her death was so scandalous that sudden Rose Kennedy refused to attend the funeral. But I don't know. I'd be thinking that maybe dad killed her because he didn't like her second love choice.
There's just way too many deaths in this one family for them to not be orchestrated to some extent.
Right. Oh, and that happened in 1948. So in 1963, obviously JFK is assassinated. In 1968, the next hope, Robert F. Kennedy. So 5 years later, like we had said, Bobby was assassinated, shot after declaring victory in the California primary. Died in front of his wife and supporters, which is so awful. Ted Kennedy, in 1969, Ted, the youngest Kennedy brother, was expected to carry the torch after Bobby's death. But in 1969, after a party on, is it Chappaquiddick Island?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got it right.
Ted drove off a bridge, like we said, leaving Mary Jo trapped in the car. And he didn't report it for 10 hours, and that fucked him up. David Kennedy, the haunted son, 1984. The fourth of RFK's 11 children, David witnessed his father's assassination at age 12. He never recovered emotionally.
Absolutely
struggling
not.
with
How could you?
I don't know. Struggling with addiction. He died of a drug overdose in a Florida hotel room at 28 years old. Michael Kennedy, so the reckless tragedy, 1997. Another of RFK's sons died at 39 while playing football in Aspen, Colorado. He slammed into a tree and died instantly. At the time, he was under investigation for an alleged affair with a 14-year-old babysitter, a scandal that was quickly buried under the shock of his death.
Well, the easiest way to bury a scandal is to bury a Kennedy. Come on now.
Right. Which then brings us to, obviously, the Prince, 1999. So he obviously died over the vineyards in a plane crash. His body, along with his wife, Caroline, and sister-in-law, Lauren, was recovered days later from the ocean floor. And there's obviously so many conspiracies around that. Maeve Kennedy and son Gideon. So in 2020, I love the name Maeve. In 2020, the tragedy continued into a new generation. Maeve, granddaughter of RFK, went missing in April 2020 after taking a canoe out into the Chesapeake Bay with her 8-year-old son, Gideon. They were caught in strong currents while chasing a runaway ball. Their bodies were found days later. Another funeral.
I didn't know about that one.
And another Kennedy gone. Well, that was 2020. It wasn't even that long ago.
Damn.
So over the decades, the Kennedy family endured a staggering number of public tragedies.
Come on, Carrie.
Breakdowns, unexplained death. Some say it's the price of legacy, a family that flew too close to the sun, and others whisper that it's a curse. I don't know. Whatever the truth is, the result's the same. Funerals, children raised in shadows, wackadoo dynasty.
Can we just call it karma?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, when you live that much of like a secret life and putting on such a front, like what you say about, they had the public convinced they cared about civil rights, but it was really just to further their own agenda. It has to come down to karma coming around because like it's just bullshit.
So if we strip away the myths and look at the man behind Camelot, JFK was sold to the public as youthful, brave, brilliant, a war hero turned into a leader. But behind the charm was a very deeply flawed man, chronically ill, heavily medicated, physically fragile, yet portrayed as the picture of health, obsessed with his image, but often absent from actual governance, leaving much of the heavy lifting to his brother and advisors. He's addicted to sex, power, control, using the White House more as a bachelor pad.
Just pick somewhere else, dude.
Oh my God. So basically, we were surrounded by secret keeping, doctors, handlers, and a family determined to protect the Kennedy brand at all costs. And when he wasn't leading, he was lying to the press, to voters, and sometimes to himself. And yet he remains a symbol, not because of what he did, but because of what people wanted him to be. And that's the tragedy of JFK, not just a bullet in Dallas, but the illusion we all agreed to believe.
First of all, nicely done to get through the entire Kennedy history.
Do you know how much I left out?
Assassination and the people. Yes, because like I said, this is a rabbit hole I go down all the time. Can I add one little fun fact? Because I feel like I want to have you do a follow-up episode almost on just the assassination. But with some of the stuff that was recently disclosed, a different angle than what the Zapruder film always showed. So, in the Zapruder film, you can see Jackie Kennedy, instead of like kind of going to his age, she climbs out the back. They think it may have been one of the drivers. There's some new evidence came out.
Yeah, I also did forget to say that because he had to wear that brace, that's actually what killed him.
Oh, because he couldn't
because that first shot, because I think the first shot hit him somewhere that wouldn't have killed him. If he was not wearing that brace, his body would have naturally slumped over and the second bullet would have never hit him.
Wow.
Yeah. And he would have lived.
Yeah, you have locked mobility.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. Holy shit. Okay.
But there's just so much. It's so wild. But I really just wanted to, because I listened to a lot of different podcasts about this, and there's still some people that just portray him as so great and so collected and he was a womanizer, but
you skirt past it because the
Jackie
image.
knew. and, whatever. But he was actually just kind of really fucking horrible.
I like the way you did it because everyone just covers the assassination. So many people don't know all of the history that got him to be America's golden boy.
So here's the thing, going back to the top of the episode, your question, it's kind of like in the beginning, I think he really was going to be a great human.
Mm-hmm.
He saved people. He did really good. And he was just a sickly child that just read his books and, fantasized. I think he could have been good. But then you're put with this family that's forcing you to be this type of person. He used to take acting classes and he would watch actors and watch how they moved and how they stayed calm. And he was so that's so manipulative in how he could, but he was raised that way. I don't know if he would have been that way had he not been raised and forced. And his entire family was basically like, oh, sorry, you died. Next in line, be the president. Next in line. That's so fucked up.
And he might not have just been a womanizer. There was also a curious best friend that he had.
Oh, probably. Honestly,
there's so much.
I wouldn't even doubt that. There's so much fuck shit. I didn't even go through all the affairs. I didn't even go through all the women. I didn't even go really through how much jacking. I can't even. We'd been here for
forever.
Way too long.
So anyways, if any of those things stuck out to you, go down the rabbit hole because it is so interesting. And you will get stuck in for hours. Wow, though. Holy crap. Nice job.
And
Carrie.
Thank you. I might have left out a certain something on purpose, and that maybe might be your next episode for me. Ooh. I don't know. If you guys can figure it out, put it in the comments below, whatever you're listening to.
Let's do it. Guess. And since she already spoiled mine, you might want to be guessing mine as well.
Guess both. All right. Guess Zach's first and then.
Perfect. We need to let these people go. We've been going long. What emoji do you want?
Oh my God. What do we do for this?
The White House and a black car.
There is a White House emoji. Okay,
there
perfect. We go. Okay, this is a very long one. I hope I didn't repeat myself or stutter too much, and I am so sorry.
Before you go too fast, too, write-ins. We want to know your theories on the assassination.
Yes, please.
Okay, now wrap it up.
Or just your rabbit hole that you've dived down on him. Okay, but I'll do all of that stuff for us. The most important thing you can do for us is to creep it real, my little oddballs.
Goodbye.
Bye.